We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Jeff. Last week we discussed Jeff's top middle speakers. He had positioned them the same distance apart as his front left right, as per Dolby's guidelines, but then that put them 10 feet apart, and he wasn't getting the sense that they were directly overhead, which is what he was hoping for. So we made some suggestions, and he wanted to respond. Okay, we told him a couple of things. He said, okay, he can't easily angle the top middles. They're bolted flush to the ceiling.
Okay.
Moving the top middles inward is possible, but he's really dreading the work, and it would mean sacrificing an expensive diffuser panel on his ceiling and making things look a bit weird aesthetically. So he's actually leaning towards the idea of moving them back and angling them similar to his front height speakers, but he isn't quite sure if that would work due to the soffit. They'd only be about 4 feet behind him, so the angle doesn't really quite work out for rear heights, which is what Rob suggested. So he asked, is there any way to make this placement work? You know what? I'm going to make a semi-controversial suggestion here. And again, I think it's just a test thing. I'm wondering if because you're saying he's the top, they're bolted flush to the ceiling, he can't move them. Well, can't is a real strong word. I have a feeling you could probably get away with it if you really tried.
No, he said it easily. He can't move them easily because we were wondering last week if they're on mounts that can be pivoted, then that's not a hard thing to do. But he's like, they're bolted flush, so it's not a trivial thing.
No, I understand. So what I'm wondering is if you actually went up there and had, again, this is what children are good for, put them on ladders and have them stand up there with the first thing that comes to my mind is like a tray that you use to put chicken on in the oven.
Reflect the sound
and
off.
You basically just angle them slightly in on the outside of those speakers, just to see if that makes a difference for you. Because what we really want to know here is if angling them will work. So we're not going for the perfect thing. We're not looking for that's exactly what I want. Children, you can never come down from those ladders. No, what you want is I think that's making it better. Is it now worth it to you to angle these speakers?
So I'm coming at it from, I think you're going to end up taking these speakers down from the ceiling, if only temporarily, to reposition them no matter what you do. Yeah. So when you unbolt them from the ceiling, try just angling them where they are.
You could do that too. I'm trying to get him to make the decision one way or the other as far as whether or not they're worth angling.
Right. But I'm like, so I agree. The second suggestion of you don't want to remove the panels you've got. You're like, it's going to look weird. I already have this expensive panel. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's not do that.
Fair enough.
I'm totally fine with that. I am sort of leaning the same way as Jeff. I think having them behind you makes sense. Now, he was like, they're not going to be at the correct elevation angle to call them rear heights. Well, then we call them top rears, because that's where top rears would go.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Not as far back as rear heights, but not as far forward as top middles. In between those two things are top rears. And that's exactly the position he would have. Now, having them behind you, angled towards you, and you've already said having them in front of you, angled towards you, is working for the front heights. I don't see why that wouldn't work for you for your top rears. And in his email, he was like, will I get that sense that sound is directly above me? It's really hard to stereo locate anything above you because you don't have an ear on the top of your head to triangulate things that way.
Your ears don't rotate like this, rotate upwards like a cow's ear so that you go, oh, look at that.
That's right.
There they are. Oh, it's behind me. I got it.
But at the same time, the intention was to have top fronts and top rears anyway, which means that sounds tend to be sort of fore and aft. And honestly, let's say you put the speakers 3 feet behind you, because they don't have to go 4 feet. That's just the farthest back they could go, because he was like, Rob said rear heights. I'm trying to get them as far back as possible. Well, they don't have to be. What if they're only 3 feet behind you? You label them as top rears, which would be fine, and you angle them down towards your seat. I'm like, that's that's going to sound pretty good, in my opinion. That's going to be like, yeah, that is above and behind me. I can tell that is above and behind me.
Yeah, I have a feeling that. I mean, I don't think he wants to angle them. I think that are these like in-ceiling speakers? Is that the deal?
No, these were the HTM 200 SEs. These are like satellite bookshelf type speakers, and he already has a mounting system for his front heights that lets them hang down from the ceiling and angle towards his seats. I'm like, so use that same mounting system I was saying last week as rear heights, but
the ones that he's got at the top middles, he just needs to build a wedge, right? Just a piece of wood that is a wedge.
And just angle them
in order to angle them. I know it's going to be a hassle. I hear you. I wouldn't want to do it either.
But yeah, so is this other thing of moving them rearward is also
you want top middles, dude. Just get what you want. How often do you get people telling you this? Get what you want. Don't compromise. Stick to your guns. Get what you want. You want top middles. I know it's going to be a hassle. You're going to end up having, one way or another, you're going to take these things out and move them.
One way or another, you're unbolting these things from the ceiling.
It's happening. So, or you just live with them the way they are and then complain about it all the time, which is probably what I would do because I'm lazy.
I can't disagree with any of that. Yeah. That is also true.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.